SpaceX sets ambitious 2025 goal, 170 orbital launches in sight. In a bold declaration that underscores its dominance in the global launch industry, SpaceX announced on May 28, 2025, that it is aiming to achieve an unprecedented 170 orbital launches by the end of the calendar year. This ambitious goal, if realized, would mark the most launches ever achieved by a single company, or even a single nation, in one calendar year. The announcement, delivered by SpaceX President Gwynne Shotwell during a company town hall and later confirmed through official statements and media briefings, marks a pivotal escalation in SpaceX's effort to redefine space access from an expensive, infrequent endeavor to a scalable, industrial operation. At its core, the 170 launch target is the culmination of nearly 2 decades of strategic investment in reusable rocket technology, vertical integration, and launch pad infrastructure. It also reflects the growing demand for launch services not just from commercial satellite operators, but from governments, research institutions, militaries, and the company's own internal needs, particularly its Starlink broadband satellite constellation. The implications of such a high launch cadence are staggering. To meet the goal, SpaceX would need to average a launch every 2.1 days. For comparison, the global total for all space launches in 2022 was just 186, including Russia, China, the US, and all private firms combined. SpaceX alone is now attempting to nearly equal that figure on its own, within a single year. If successful, the feat would underscore a shift in the global launch economy and solidify SpaceX's grip on a commercial market that has increasingly consolidated around the company's unique blend of cost efficiency, speed, and scale. The Falcon factor. Reusability enters industrial mode. A core enabler of the 170 launch goal is SpaceX's maturing Falcon 9 and Falcon Heavy programs. The Falcon 9, first launched in 2010, has evolved into the most reliable and frequently flown orbital rocket in history. As of early June 2025, it has already completed over 360 missions, with more than 95% of them successfully recovering the first stage booster via either ocean-based drone ships or return-to-launch site landings. What was once a theoretical promise, reusability, is now a practical and proven method of increasing cadence and decreasing costs. By mid-2024, SpaceX had flown boosters more than 20 times with no major incidents. In 2025, some Falcon 9 cores are approaching their 25th and even 30th flights, with post-flight inspection cycles now measured in days rather than weeks. Ground crews have honed recovery operations, integrating automation and predictive maintenance tools that enable rapid turnaround and booster reassignment. Even more remarkably, launch pad operations have been refined to a degree that allows back-to-back launches from the same complex in less than 3 days. SLC-40 at Cape Canaveral and LC-39A at Kennedy Space Center are now outfitted with upgraded strongbacks, faster fueling systems, and new payload integration hangars to reduce ground time. Vandenberg's SLC-4E on the West Coast continues to support polar and sun-synchronous launches, particularly for Starlink and Earth observation customers. Falcon Heavy, though flown less frequently, is also scheduled for at least 8 missions in 2025, including multiple national security payloads and interplanetary probes for NASA and international partners. The heavy lift variant's triple booster architecture, often reusing 2 side boosters from previous missions, demonstrates SpaceX's ability to adapt reusability even for complex mission profiles. Starlink's role, the engine behind the cadence. A major driver behind the push for 170 launches is Starlink, the satellite internet constellation that SpaceX began deploying in earnest in 2019. As of June 2025, the constellation consists of over 7,500 operational satellites in low Earth orbit, providing broadband coverage across North and South America, Europe, large parts of Africa, and most of Asia Pacific. But SpaceX isn't stopping there. The company is deep into deploying its second-generation Starlink satellites, known as V2 Mini and V2 Full, which offer higher bandwidth, better coverage, and direct-to-cell capability. These larger and more powerful satellites are tailored for use with regular smartphones, allowing users to connect directly to the Starlink constellation without the need for dishes or ground stations. The implications for global communications, particularly in remote, disaster-struck, or politically unstable regions, are enormous. to build out and maintain this constellation. SpaceX has booked approximately 115 Starlink-dedicated launches in 2025, many carrying 22 to 23 satellites per flight aboard Falcon 9s. Some missions will deploy satellites into new orbital shells designed to reduce congestion and optimize geographic coverage. Others will serve as replenishment missions to deorbit aging satellites and replace them with more capable versions. Each of these launches is managed with military-like precision. From satellite production at SpaceX's Redmond facility in Washington to booster assignment and launch integration, the entire process has become a seamless industrial pipeline. What used to take months for a traditional aerospace company is now accomplished in weeks or even days by SpaceX, owing to its vertically integrated structure and rapid decision-making culture, serving the world, commercial, government, and science payloads. Beyond Starlink, SpaceX's 2025 manifest is packed with third-party missions. Dozens of commercial satellite operators have booked rides on Falcon 9, taking advantage of the rocket's low cost and reliability. From Earth observation to telecom services and climate monitoring, these missions span nearly every sector of the orbital economy. NASA remains one of SpaceX's largest customers. In 2025, the company is expected to perform multiple commercial resupply services (CRS) missions to the International Space Station, as well as at least 2 crewed flights under the Commercial Crew Program. SpaceX's Crew Dragon vehicle has now flown more than 15 astronauts to orbit and continues to be a linchpin in American human spaceflight. The U.S. Department of Defense is also increasingly dependent on SpaceX for critical national security missions. Falcon 9 and Falcon Heavy will launch military communications satellites, early warning systems, and classified payloads as part of the National Security Space Launch (NSSL) program. These missions often require precise orbital insertions and are conducted with extreme scrutiny, demonstrating the Pentagon's growing trust in SpaceX over legacy providers. Meanwhile, SpaceX is expanding its role in science missions as well. In 2025, the company will launch probes and observatories for NASA, the European Space Agency, and Japanese and South Korean space agencies. These include missions aimed at studying exoplanets, monitoring solar activity, and tracking asteroid populations. The relatively low cost of launch with Falcon has enabled scientists to pursue ambitious missions once deemed financially unfeasible. Starship in the wings, the next frontier. While the 170 launch goal is focused on Falcon operations, it's impossible to overlook the progress of Starship, SpaceX's next-generation rocket system. Designed for fully reusable interplanetary transport, Starship is undergoing test flights in South Texas and may conduct multiple orbital missions in late 2025. These will focus on demonstrating full-stack reusability, payload deployment, and cryogenic propellant transfer, key steps toward enabling future lunar and Martian missions. Though Starship isn't expected to contribute significantly to the 170 launch goal this year, its development represents the next leap in cadence and payload capacity. If and when Starship becomes operational, it could carry 100-plus tons to orbit in a single flight, potentially replacing dozens of Falcon 9 missions and opening new possibilities for space manufacturing, exploration, and colonization. NASA's Artemis program has selected a modified version of Starship as its Human Landing System, HLS, for upcoming lunar missions. SpaceX is scheduled to perform uncrewed and eventually crewed landings on the Moon as part of the Artemis 3 and 4 missions, with Starship being central to those efforts. Though these missions are years away, the groundwork being laid in 2025 is crucial. Infrastructure, logistics, and human capital. Scaling to 170 launches a year requires more than just rocket hardware. It demands world-class infrastructure and an army of skilled personnel. SpaceX has expanded its facilities across the United States. In Florida, upgrades to Cape Canaveral and Kennedy Space Center now support round-the-clock launch operations. New payload processing facilities, control rooms, and rocket refurbishment centers operate on a 24/7 schedule. The company has also added new recovery drones to its fleet, including Just Read the Instructions, Of Course I Still Love You, and a new entrant called A Shortfall of Gravitas 2. These automated drone ships recover Falcon first stages at sea, allowing for reuse even when launching into high-energy orbit.